We could just play these musical lives. It's crazy. Okay, let me get over here. Make sure that we go on here. Hi, Holly. The ad coming up. I gotta stop it. Hold on a minute. I want to just make sure my. Yes. There we go. Great. Okay, Holly. First one in. Okay. How many people have any of you gone into these documents yet? Have any of you? Because I haven't. I just got them and I didn't look at them. I said I'll look. I didn't have time. I said I'm gonna look at them with everybody else. Hello, White Angel. I'm gonna look at them with everybody else. Oh, that reminds me. Hold on a minute. I gotta take care of something before I go. I've got to find out before the show. Okay. Wait. We just play these musical lives? Hold on. Crazy. Okay. So you haven't. Okay, good. So are you guys all familiar with the case we're talking about? We're talking about the case of RebeccaKayPark. She was 22 years old. She was 38 weeks pregnant with her third child, who I believe was a son that I think they're now referring to him as Richie. And allegedly she was lured to her birth mother's house. It's not her stepfather. I know there's so many outlets calling it her stepfather. It was not her stepfather. Those people never even raised her. Her and her sister were adopted by a woman named Stephanie Park. I keep adding the S. Park. And so they were adopted, and then they got into contact with their biological mother, Cortney. And Cortney's only, 42 years old? But she had another child, the son. I believe the son she had the custody of. But allegedly they lured her. There was some talk of an inheritance, like $2,000 in an envelope. I don't think anything of that is true. And it's recent. It's recent. We're going to go through all the documents, Chrissy. But it's apparently how they lured her. Now, if you hear two different, we're going to hear in these documents, but prior to these documents, there was like two stories circulating. One where she was killed in the home, another one where she's taken out to this park and killed. So we're going to find what happened, but it was horrific. She was alive. They tried to cut the baby out of her, and they caused the death of her and the baby. Just horrific. Her own biological mother. And then her sister was arrested along with the baby daddy, who's more than 20 years older than her. And I have some stuff on them too. But let me just... I'm going to read it from my screen, and we'll have to go through this together. Let me just pull this up here. Okay, get away. Get away. All right. I think the first thing I have is on the sister. Let me see if this is the sister. Yeah, there's some, okay. I have the first document. This is 12/3 of 2025. Defendant Park Kimberly Sue. Height 5'7", weight 240. Marital status, all of that stuff is not there. Let's see what it says about her. Okay, so bond memos, no weapons or firearms, no threatening or harassing behavior. GPS, tether, what is that? Tether house set by Commander of Corrections or something. No contact with BradBartholomew, no contact with CortneyBatholemew, and no contact with Richard Fowler. That's the baby daddy. Okay, so I want to say anything about her. Kimberly Sue Park, Michigan versus Kimberly. Okay, she has count 1, tampering with evidence, criminal case, punishable by more than 10 years. This is the sister, guys, now. The sister of the 22-year-old that was killed. The younger sister, I believe she's a year younger. Count 1, tampering with evidence. She did offer evidence that he or she reckless disregard is false in a criminal case where the crime was punishable by the maximum term of imprisonment of more than 10 years or imprisonment for life or any term of years, contrary to MCL 750 yada yada, felony 10 years or 20,000. A consecutive sentence may be imposed for any other conviction. Count 2, lying to a peace officer, a violent crime investigation after being informed by the detective Chris Pisker of Wexford County Sheriff's Department that the officer was conducting a criminal investigation. She did knowingly and willfully make a statement or statements to the officer that he or she knew were false or misleading regarding the following material facts relating to the investigation. CortneyBatholemew had Bradley Bartholomew strike RebeccaKayPark in the head, causing a seizure, and then took her body away, and the officer was conducting a criminal investigation for first-degree murder. Count 3, false report of a felony, did intentionally make a false report of the commission of a felony. Okay, felonious assault to Detective Sergeant Chris Pisker of the Wexford County Sheriff's Office, knowing that the report was false. Okay, and then she's got another one here. Let me see. And we've got Richards. Let's see what he's got. His conditions, right? No weapons or firearms, no threatening or harassing behavior, no contact with Kimberly Parks, CortneyBatholemew, or BradBartholomew, no illegal controlled substances, and he has random drug testing, I guess. So he's charged with controlled substance, delivery, manufacture, and methamphetamine. Again, that's count 2. Habitual offender, 4th offense. That he was previously convicted of 3 or more felonies or attempts to commit felonies. In 3/19/2001, he or she was convicted of attempt of stolen property, receive and conceal in excess of $100 in violation. 12/12/2005, he was convicted of criminal S conduct, 3rd degree, incapacitated victim. Okay, on 5/19/2015, criminal S conduct of the 2nd degree in violation. Let's see. And Okay, who's this now? Let me see. Bartholomew, Cortney, okay. Now this is the bio mother. She is 5'7", weighs 180 pounds. She was arraigned for homicide, murder, first degree, premeditated. That's count 1. Count 2 is the same. Count 3 is torture. Count 4 is conspiracy to commit torture. Count 5, assault of a pregnant individual, intent, miscarriage. Count 6, conspire to assault a pregnant individual's stillbirth. Count 7, unlawful imprisonment. Count 8, dead bodies removed without medical exam. Let's see here. Arraignment was 12-2. All right. And then Brad, that's the birth mother's husband. Okay. He has homicide, first degree premeditated. He has homicide, felony murder for count 2. Count 3 is torture. Count 4, conspiracy to commit torture. Count 5, assault on a pregnant individual intentionally causing a miscarriage or a stillbirth. Count 6, conspiracy to commit assault on a pregnant individual intentionally causing a miscarriage or a stillbirth. Count 7, unlawful imprisonment. Count 8, dead bodies, removing them without a medical examiner permission. Okay, and that's his stuff here. Now we're going to go through the probable cause affidavit. Those are all their charges. So let me get the probable cause affidavit. Oh my gosh, this takes so long to load up. You gotta be kidding me. Let me go in my file here. Come on, baby. I put it in where's my this one. Make sure this is the right file. Yes, it is. Okay. I'll read it over here. That way we'll stay. Okay, so let me get which page are we on here? This isn't even the right. Hold on a minute. Yikes. See, I have to go into. 1 second. Here we go. Just do it this way. All right. So this is from People of the State of Michigan versus Bradley Allen Bartholomew and Cortney Marie Bartholomew. Affidavit of probable cause. I need glasses for this. Okay. Affiant, a duly sworn officer with the Wexford County Sheriff's Office, attests to the following facts on personal investigation or is swearing to the facts as presented by a fellow sworn deputy sheriff to establish probable cause that the homicide, first-degree premeditated felony murder, torture, conspiracy to commit torture, assault of a pregnant individual causing a miscarriage or a stillbirth, conspiracy to commit assault of a pregnant individual causing miscarriage or stillbirth, unlawful imprisonment, removing a dead body without the consent of the medical examiner was committed by the defendant, and affiant is respectfully seeking a warrant for the defendant's arrest. On November 4th of 2025 at 12:44, Wexford County Central Dispatch received a call from Kimberly Sue Park, that's the sister, reporting that her sister, RebeccaKayPark, had not been seen since November 3rd. At approximately 2330 at 30 South 21 and a half Road in Boone Township of Wexford County, Deputy Reed began Wexford County Sheriff's Office incident report as a missing persons investigation. At the time of the report, Rebecca was 38 weeks pregnant and living with her boyfriend, Richard Lee Fowler, at 1531 North 41 and a half Road in Cedar Creek Township. And we showed you that mobile home, right? Deputy Reed spoke with Cortney Marie Bartholomew. That's the that's the birth mother, who is Rebecca Park's biological mother and lives at 30 South 21 and a half Road. Cortney reported that she was with Rebecca Park the prior night until approximately 8:30 p.m. when an unidentified friend picked Rebecca up from Cortney's residence. Cortney had picked Rebecca up from 1511 North 41 and a half Road. That's where she lived with Richard Fowler. Listen to this. To spend some time together and get ice cream from Culver's. That's the second time Culver's has been mentioned in a true crime case. And I've still never eaten there. I've seen the sign for it go down to Edisto. On the way to Culver's, Rebecca told Cortney she needed Tide Pods. So Cortney returned to her address to get some Tide Pods for her. Cortney went to the residence, grabbed the Tide Pods, and came outside. When she came outside, Rebecca told her that she was going to wait at the residence for a friend to pick her up. They waited a couple of minutes, and a black sedan with tinted windows pulled across the road from the residence. Rebecca proceeded across the road and got into the front passenger seat of the vehicle. Cortney didn't know the specific make or model of the sedan or the numbers of occupants in the car. She couldn't tell if the driver was a male or a female. She said that after this, she didn't see Rebecca again. She's a big fat liar. That's my opinion. Sorry, it is. And fat is describing the lie she's telling, not her body. But she's a liar, in my opinion. Cortney reported to Deputy Reed that she's contacted by Rebecca's friend, Richard Fowler, as her fiancé, regarding her location later that night. And Cortney informed Rich she didn't know where Rebecca was and that she left with a friend. Cortney was contacted by Kimberly Park the morning of November 4th and was sent a screenshot of the location where Rebecca's phone was pinging at. Cortney told Deputy Reed that she proceeded down the road on West 26th Road where she found Rebecca's phone lying by the two-track. The two-track, now, that's just like literally tire tracks running side by side through a field kind of thing, okay? I didn't know what it was either. Two-track. just off of West 26th Road. This location is less than 200 yards from 30 South 21st Road. Cortney checked the phone and thought, Rebecca may have dropped it when she was using the restroom. Cortney reported that she took the phone to Richard Fowler's residence on Tuesday, November 4th, and turned it over to him. Gotta go on the next page. The sheriff's office issued a press release on Tuesday, November 4th. They identified RebeccaKayPark as a missing person. She was also entered into the Law Enforcement Information Network as missing. On Wednesday, November 5th, Detective Pisker met with Kimberly Park when she arrived at the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. Park had suggested that she might know where RebeccaKayPark is when she arrived at the sheriff's office. When I asked her about this, she played a voicemail from Cortney that said that Araya Clark had called her and said that two people in a car had pulled up to the revival center looking for Narcan, and said that pregnant woman that's missing got what she effing deserved. Cortney stated that it was Serena Rausch that said something to Rusty, Arias Clark's father. She also added, I guess it was an older guy that your sister left with. When I asked Kimberly if she knows where she is at, she answers that the only older guy that Rebecca talks to is Stephen Billett, and calls him a pervert. Kim Park believes that Billett drives a black sedan, adding, like Cortney said, Stephen was contacted and did not appear to have had contact with Rebecca. During the interview with Kimberly, she showed Lieutenant Pisker a Blue View brand Model 4 cellular telephone, which he says was Rebecca's phone, on the home screen. Kimberly reported that she has looked through the phone and observed that the last communications on the phone report a missed video call from someone named Clunan14 at Gmail on Friday, October 3rd at 8:43 p.m. The last text message was on Sunday, and the last phone call was to CortneyBatholemew on Sunday, November 2nd at 21:14. Kimberly identified that Rebecca uses her phone regularly and daily, and because she did not see any communications on Monday, November 3rd, she suspects the records of the phone activity on the 3rd have been deleted. Kimberly reported that Rebecca is known to regularly delete communication records from her cell phone. Kimberly then played another voice message on the phone from CortneyBatholemew, who can be heard explaining, okay, when Randy passed away, I was told that your sister had something to do with it. That would give Randy's family a murder revenge thing, because she was involved when it came to Randy. On the message, Cortney suggested, so Stephen Billett is connected to Randy's family, so I would definitely be looking at them. When I asked Kimberly if she trusted Cortney, she responded, not really. On Thursday, November 6th, at 13:35, Lieutenant Pisker obtained a search warrant for the Blue View 4 cellular telephone that had been entered into property in the incident at item 54. The cellular phone was submitted to the Michigan State Police Computer Crimes Unit on the same date at 15:16 hours. On Saturday, November 8th, 2025, members of the All-County Search and Rescue and Christian Aid Ministry Search and Rescue with 36 personnel comprised of 5 teams searched the area where RebeccaKayPark was last seen and the area where her cell phone was recovered from. No additional evidence was identified. During this time, numerous trips and leads were coming in and were being actively investigated. However, none located RebeccaKayPark due to reported activity on Rebecca's social media platforms. Per register search warrant were obtained and served on her known social media accounts. However, no outgoing use was ever identified. On November 15th, 2025, Candace Freeman reported to Deputy Jacob Coppedon that his sister, CortneyBatholemew, had texted her on October 28th that she had given birth to a son. Oh, listen to that now. Listen to that. On November 15th, Candace Freeman, who's Cortney's sister, was texted on October 28th that she had given birth to a son and was asking Candace for items for the baby. So Cortney was planning this child to be alive and take this child and raise it as her own. I don't know how she was doing that, but they botched up the delivery, right? Which happens in almost every one of these cases that we've ever seen. Through a series of text messages, Cortney said that she had given birth at 28 weeks. And the baby was in the NICU in Grand Rapids, and that she had named the baby Ashton Lee Bartholomew. Cortney told Candace he's supposed to come home this coming week. As long as he's doing good still, he will. You know what I don't understand? Her daughter was 38 weeks pregnant. Why didn't she just let her give birth and then try to take the baby? But I guess then she thought this baby would be identified, that she would have put pictures out there probably, and that's what she was thinking of, but it's ridiculous. Not that either one is good, but I'm just saying. To attempt with the, okay, so let's see. On Monday, November 3rd, Candace asked Cortney if she was able to bring the baby home. And Cortney told her no, he did a backslide, but still hoping this week. On November 3rd, Cortney sent Candace a text that read, "My son passed away." Okay, now this doesn't make any sense. Why on November 3rd would she say my son? Oh, right. Hold on a minute. Yeah, now I get it. Okay, hold on. I was getting confused by that November 15th. November 15th is when Candace reported this. But Cortney, on the October 28th, tells her sister, I had a baby, he's in the NICU, he's supposed to come home this week. And that November 3rd was supposed to be when she got that baby. But she botched it, and her daughter and the baby died. And so she told her sister, my baby died. My son passed away, she says. On November 4th, Candace asked if it was because he wasn't strong enough or he had gotten sick. And Cortney answered, I don't know what happened. I just know he wasn't getting air. And added, all I know is I watched my child die right in front of me. Well, she watched her child die, Rebecca, right in front of her by her own hand. And she watched her grandchild, who she's thinking was her child, die as well by her own hand. Okay. Candace asked if she was there when it happened, and Cortney answered, yes, I was. On Tuesday, November 4th, Cortney began to discuss with Candace that RebeccaKayPark is missing. The day after, right? This is crazy. I gotta get turn the page, get it in the right view for me to see it. On Tuesday, November 11th, preservation's request for tower dump area search for the tower and the location, and it gives some coordinates, between the hours of 1900 and 2200 on November 3rd were submitted to T-Mobile, AT&T, and Verizon Wireless. Lieutenant Pisker had contacted CortneyBatholemew about another interview. Bartholomew was reluctant to come in, suggesting that Deputy Reed's interview with her had been thorough, but eventually agreed. On Tuesday, November 11th, 2025, Detective Lieutenant Pisker conducted a recorded interview with CortneyBatholemew. Initially, some background on Cortney and her biological children raised by the Park family is established. Cortney then reports how Rebecca and Richard Fowler were initially dating, and they broke up. A relationship between herself and Rich then commences. See, everybody had this wrong. Everybody had said that he was dating Cortney, then he was dating his sister, then he was dating Rebecca. Now that she's saying this is not the way it happened, so who knows who's right? But she's saying that Rebecca and Richard started out, broke up, and then Cortney started dating Richard. Cortney reports that she was planning to divorce Bradley. Cortney then became pregnant and was unsure who the father might be, Bradley or Richard. Because of this, she stopped her divorce approximately 2 weeks before the court date for the divorce. Cortney reports that Rich showed up at her house with the intention of shooting Bradley. After Cortney rejected Rich, he resumed his relationship with Rebecca. What about Kim? Because Kim's supposed to have been with him too. Cortney also reported that Rich had returned to her residence and arred her forcefully, causing her to have a miscarriage of the baby she was carrying. A report of the incident was made to the sheriff's office. However, Cortney said Rich was not charged. Cortney identified that she was concerned for Rebecca. She was aware of how abusive and aggressive Richard Fowler could be and had encouraged Rebecca to leave Rich. This is crazy. I have to get some tea though. Are you going to be okay if I get some tea? I'm going to just let you digest that for a little bit. Let me see. Are you guys following all this? Is everybody following this? Hi, Amy and everybody. Can I get some tea? I'll talk to you guys. Will you wait for me to get some tea? Okay, because lately, I don't know. Amy, hi. Nora, hi, MSL. Hi, Steve, Stapp. Did anybody see that shirt where they think they saw Carly? No, I didn't see that, Steve, but welcome. Hi, Tilly Bird. I wonder where our other lady is that she was here every night for one of the cases, and I mean, like, really into it. And she's still a member, but I don't know, we haven't seen her. And then they changed her name. It was like, her name was like Bubbly Red or something, but then they gave her that crazy name. I can't remember it. Okay, you're going to wait, MSL, for me to get something? Okay. Yeah, this is crazy. And we're only on page 3, and there's 17 pages, so hold on. But now you don't know whether you're like, oh, I never made my orange juice today. Who's lying, right? Who's lying? Like, which one of these things is she lying about? And the stuff we heard before, well, where did that come from? Because somebody said that Richard was dating the mother, then the other sister, then Rebecca. She tells it the other way, and then she starts putting in, is there really a police report, or is she a pathological liar? Because who was that other person that was saying that there were police reports? Remember, we were just watching a case, and they said that things had been reported to the police or something, and then there were no reports. Remember that case? It was recently we did it. Somebody, oh, yeah. Do you guys remember what I'm talking about? Maybe you don't. Oh, I know what it was. It was that guy that was having the break-ins. Remember? That was the guy that ironically, that other lady was really interested in that case. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. All right. Is this a trial now? Scooter, are you really that far behind? I'm worried about you, girl. You're usually on this stuff. No, this is not a trial. This just happened. This is the probable cause affidavit. And don't run away, Scooter. Last night, we tried to talk to you, and Evie and I were on panel, and you ran away again. And everybody's asking about you, Scooter, like, what's going on? You're ignoring us all. And they're like, I'm like, she only talks to me in text. She came in the Zoom last week. You're like you're on the run for something. We're worried. Stay in here, Scooter. Stay in here. We were calling you and calling you, and you didn't hear us. I hope Evie's appointment went well today. Okay, I'm just getting my tea. I'll be right there. I can hear you, though. You know, I mean, you can hear me. You know what I mean. Tomorrow I have to get a lot done. I did get a lot done today, but it just wasn't the right, I mean, it was like video-wise. I have another video coming out. I had to get a quota done. I got something special coming up from something. I can't tell you now, though. Okay. Let me just get some tea. I'll be right there. This is going to be burning hot, so I'm not going to be able to drink it. Okay, let me just put this here. I don't want a collection of Okay, Amy's Justice League is into this case, right? I know, I think you said you went down a rabbit hole in this case. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Did you get into this case, Amy? Okay. Let's go back on this. Let me see. I've got to find my page now. Is this the one I was on? It was this page. Oh, here we are. Okay, so we ended with Cortney identified that she was concerned for Rebecca. She was aware how abusive and aggressive Richard Fowler were and had encouraged Rebecca to leave Rich. I don't believe it. When Detective Lieutenant Pisker asked about things leading up to the weekend, Cortney reported on Kimberly and Rebecca coming over. On Saturday, November 1st, to her residence, Cortney told Pisker about giving envelopes to Kimberly and Rebecca. So this is her talking about these stupid envelopes, right? She's a liar, so these envelopes were later reported by Kimberly and Rebecca to have been empty. Well, how did Rebecca report that? Maybe they found a text or something? Cortney said that she was going to give Rebecca cash. Didn't want Kimberly to feel left out. So she wanted Kimberly to set up an account so she could put money in an account for her. Well, I thought they said that this was some type of inheritance. I'm wondering who they're inheriting this money from, right? Cortney then reports having forgotten to give Rebecca some items for the baby while at the house. So she contacted Rebecca and then brought the items to her at Richard Fowler's house on Saturday night. Cortney told Lieutenant Pisker that on Sunday, November 2nd, she was supposed to pick Rebecca up and have milkshakes at Dairy Queen. I thought they were going to Culver's. And every time I hear Culver's and ice cream, I'm always wondering what they have. I think I don't know where I saw the sign, somewhere like along the way going down or something, I don't know. At Dairy Queen. And get Rebecca laundry soap. Well, that is totally not what she said, okay? She said that, Cortney said she was out of Tide Pods. But didn't she so she just contradicted herself, right? She can't even remember what she said, okay? Milkshakes at Dairy Queen and get Rebecca laundry soap. Those plans fell through when Rebecca went to Cadillac Munson Hospital. She thought she was in labor. Oh yeah, that's right. And I guess she must have been freaking, right? Because there goes her plan. Cortney reported that she and Brad both visited Rebecca and Rich in the hospital that day. Yeah, she must have been dying, right? Don't, come on home. It was confirmed that Rebecca was not in labor, but had only dilated to 1, and she was released from the hospital. Cortney drove Rebecca and Rich home. Cortney said that when they arrived at Fowler's, he was throwing their bags, and Rebecca had whispered to her that Rich has been acting like a real big arse mom. Cortney offered to take her home with her, and Rebecca requested that they just meet for milkshakes tomorrow and talk. Oh, is this when they changed the plan to go to Culver's? On Monday, November 3rd, Cortney said that she went to pick Rebecca up between 1830 and 1900 hours at Fowler's. Cortney reports that as they rode, Rebecca said she was tired, which she confronted by telling her she looked stressed. She looked stressed. She claimed that Rebecca was upset with Rich, identifying that he had been hounding her to obtain money to fix his truck. Cortney talked about how she encouraged Rebecca to leave Rich, but said Rebecca was afraid to leave him. Cortney said that when they arrived at her house, she gave Rebecca an envelope with $2,000 cash in it, and they discussed Cortney throwing her a baby shower. She later identified that Rebecca didn't want a baby shower because she was afraid that CPS was going to take the baby. Cortney said while they were talking, Rebecca was texting on her phone and mentioned the possibility that she had two phones. Cortney said she went into the house to get laundry soap, and that's when she came back out and said, I noticed that she deleted something, but didn't know what it was or which phone it might have been on. Cortney said she told Rebecca that she would take her back home, but Rebecca told her to hold on. She had somebody coming to get her. This is a different story than she told already, right? Crazy. Now we're on to page 4. Oh, my computer is so slow. Cortney said she pulled out of her driveway and a car came up behind her. She identified that she didn't ask Rebecca who it was. Out of fear, she would push her away, but Rebecca has told her that she would be back. Cortney said the car had dark tinted windows, but no plate on the car. But she could tell it was a Chevy. When questioned, that social media was reporting the car had the taillights of an Impala, Cortney confirmed she was the source of this information. Cortney talked about someone Rebecca knows who has a Chrysler 300, also having similar taillights. Cortney didn't follow the car, as she again said it would upset Rebecca if she had. Cutting her baby out of her doesn't upset her. Cortney said that at about 2300 hours, she reached out to Kimberly to get Rich's number. She was dating Rich and doesn't know his number. She was going to get a divorce from Bradley and go with Rich, but she doesn't know his number. At about 23:30, she said she tried to call Rich. So she sent him a text that Rebecca had left with someone. Cortney confirmed that Rebecca was texting while they were together. Cortney confirmed that Rebecca was texting while they were together. Cortney confirmed that Rebecca was texting while they were together. That could mean a lot of things. Rebecca was texting Richard while her and Cortney were together. It could mean that Rebecca was texting Richard when Cortney and Richard were together. She's not very specific. Her next contact with Rich was Tuesday morning. Remember that store? It's out of business now. And she reported telling him that she had given Rebecca $2,000. Cortney then said that Kimberly sent her the GPS location of Rebecca's phone, which she said she put into her phone, and it took her right to the phone. When I asked who went and got the phone, Cortney then identified we, who was identified as Bradley and herself. It's reported that Bradley found the phone and he handed it to Cortney. Lieutenant Pisker confronted Cortney of an image she had sent to Rebecca of a check that was made out in her name for $18,000. She claimed that when her mother died, she was left money to do with as she pleased. I always thought that sounded so crazy, especially you got to know this story. Cortney confirmed that she sent an image of a check to Rebecca, but that she had not given the check to her. Cortney denied that there was a similar check made out to Kimberly. A statement that Cortney had tried to have this meeting prior had fallen through because she didn't have things in place that she needed to. Cortney said it was simply getting kids together at one time that wasn't falling into place. When Lieutenant Pisker confronts Cortney that the phone records for her phone that were found on the 2-track were not used to summon someone to pick her up, Cortney then identifies that there are possibly 2 other phones she uses. Cortney brings up the names of other people that she thinks may be involved based on rumors. Specifically that Mike Haynes and Ashley Crows were supposed to have helped Rebecca get away from Fowler. This is crazy. Lieutenant Pisker discussed phone location records with Cortney. She confirms that she picked Rebecca up between 1830 and 1900 hours, and then went south on South 41.5 Road to Mackinac Trail, turned west onto East, is that 30 3/4 road? Yeah. To continue out to her residence on 21.5 Road. This is crazy. Location data from RebeccaPark's phone supported that route of travel. Okay, so she seems to be telling the truth now on that, according to Rebecca's phone. When Lieutenant Pisker confronted Cortney with the accusations that she killed Rebecca, she asked, "Why the F would I do that?" saying she would never hurt her daughter. During the interview, Cortney said she did not know where RebeccaPark was. When Cortney was asked if she had done anything to harm RebeccaPark, she again said she would not hurt her daughter. When discussing the pickup truck at her residence that was reported to never move but had been moved recently, Cortney reported it doesn't have seats in it, but said that it was moved recently to make room to access the porch. Cortney said that Kimberly and Rebecca do not like BradBartholomew. On Tuesday, November 11th, Lieutenant Pisker conducted a recorded interview with BradBartholomew. When asked about Rebecca, Bradley reported that they didn't get along. He explained this is due to his criminal history. He described Rebecca and Cortney's relationship as rocky. Bradley said he was not around on Monday when Rebecca was at the house. He identified that he was at my place and described living in the woods near Harrietta and the fish hatchery. This is crazy. As Lieutenant Pisker was attempting to confirm his presence there, Bradley said he was alone and that his phone was with Cortney as her phone was about to be shut off. We got to turn the page, folks. This is crazy. Okay. It's page 5, yes. All right. No, hold on a minute. Where's my page? Okay. The truck at the house was discussed and identified as not having moved in years, and Bradley said that he had been driving the truck up until October 21st of 2025, and that's when the license plate expired. When asked if the seats were out of the truck, Bradley confirmed that they had been. He explained a similar explanation that they are cleaning the truck up for Cortney's son, Bentley, to drive when he turned 16. When Bradley was asked where he found out that RebeccaKayPark was missing, he identified, when? He identified it was Monday night or Tuesday morning. He again denied being at the residence. Bradley told Lieutenant Pisker that on Tuesday, November 4th, CortneyBatholemew was in town, and he was at the house with Bentley. When Cortney texted him the location of where Rebecca's phone was, Bradley said he refused to go out there alone because I'm not going to be accused of anything. Bradley said when Cortney got home, they went out to look for the phone based on a ping that Kimberly Park had sent to Cortney. Bradley confirmed that he was the person who found RebeccaKayPark's cellular device on the 2-track road, and he picked it up and he handed it to Cortney. Bradley said he didn't know how Rebecca's phone ended up on the trail, but suggested she had walked that trail in the past. On Monday, November 24th, CortneyBatholemew came to the sheriff's office to begin a recorded interview with Lieutenant Pisker. Okay. There is a discussion about the TikTok live conversations. I asked Cortney about a cellular device that a bounty hunter dropped off at the Clare City Police Department, and she identified this phone was provided by Kimberly. During the meeting, I asked Cortney about Kimberly's personal property in her vehicle. She confirmed that she was in possession of items that belonged to Kimberly. However, she didn't want to leave the items with me to return to Kimberly. On Monday, November 24th, Bradley was interviewed by Lieutenant Tim Heelan at the Michigan State Police Crime Laboratory in Grayling. During his interview, Bradley reported that he was trying to protect Kimberly Park. He said that Kimberly took Rebecca down a 2-track behind the house, and he stated, "I believe she's dead." Bartholomew said to Lieutenant Tim Heelan that he was present during a dinner when Cortney... Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. Hold on a minute. Okay. He was present during a dinner with Cortney, Rebecca, and Kimberly on Saturday, November 1st. at 30S 21.5 Road. That's Cortney's house, right? During this time, Bradley said that Kimberly had a private conversation with him, asking about the 2 tracks behind the house, and that Kimberly stated she needed to get Rebecca out of the picture. On Tuesday, November 25th, the Wexford County Central Dispatch at 14:16 hours received a 911 call from Cortney Letterman, stating that she had found a body covered with leaves that looks gutted. The location of the body was approximately 2.5 miles in a straight line west of Cortney's address in Antioch Township of Wexford County on Forest Service Road 9784. Wexford County Deputy Jacob Kopanen responded, observed the remains, and reported that the deceased female had a tattoo above her left eye and that her abdomen area of the body appears to have been cut open. The tattoo located above her left eye is consistent with the Michigan driver's license images of RebeccaKayPark. Michigan State Trooper Cody Campbell was inside the residence at Cortney's on Tuesday, November 25th, searching the residence until the Michigan State Police Crime Laboratory could search the home based on a search warrant that had been authorized on that date. While in the presence of Cortney and Bradley were discussing amongst themselves loud enough for Trooper Campbell to hear. Cortney mentioned to Bradley that the seat cover from the Ford F-150 in the driveway had recently been burned and disposed of due to something having been spilled on it. Let me see. A search warrant was served on the T-Mobile for Brad. The records that were produced show BradBartholomew's device in the area of, hold on a minute, we gotta get another page here, page 6 now. The address, that was Cortney's address on November 3rd. Further, these records show the device movement and lingering in the area consistent with where Bradley and Cortney reported recovering Rebecca's cellular device and where her body was discovered on November 25th. So they show him there. On several occasions, on Monday, November 3rd, in the evening, these records have taken place after the records obtained from Rebecca's phone and network demonstrates her arriving in the area of Cortney's address on November 3rd, shortly after 1900, Cellbrite extraction location at the residence. Additionally, records from Rebecca's phone extraction show locations that are consistent with the reported location of recovery of the device. A search warrant was served on Verizon for Cortney's known telephone number. The records that were produced pursuant to the search warrant show that CortneyBatholemew was in the area of her address, and both Bradley and Cortney's records show them in communication with one another shortly after her arrival with Rebecca at the address. Okay, additionally, Cortney's phone records have activity consistent with her interview statements that she traveled to pick up Rebecca at Richard Fowler's residence then transporting her to her residence, Cortney's residence. Bradley's call detail records show the following calls. Let's see. A 2-minute, 2-second call at 18 hours at 18:12. Outgoing call from Bradley to Cortney. Then a 57-second call from Bradley to Cortney. And a 54-second call from Bradley to Cortney. At that time of the call, 18:12. Device network records show Brad and Cortney's devices near the area of Cortney's house, and this precedes the activity of Rebecca's device coming into the area. The Appian is aware these calls show that Brad and Cortney's devices are in the area of Cortney's address after Rebecca's device records show her arrival in the same area. An autopsy was conducted at Western Michigan University. Hold on a minute. I have to get a tissue because I sneezed and now I feel like my nose is. I'll be right there. Don't have to over-explain everything, Carolyn. Okay. Okay. I'm back. I'm coming back. Oh wait, I have a little thing I'm just gonna take a. Okay. Now we're gonna talk about the autopsy. Okay. An autopsy was conducted at Western Michigan University by Dr. Christine James. It was attended by Deputy Alexis Howard. There were 6 sharp force wounds in RebeccaKayPark's back. 2 to the right upper arm, 1 to the left trapezius area, 2 to the neck, and at least 2 to the face. Wow. The right side of the face also has a laceration and an irregular wound to the cheek of unknown etiology. The wounds to the neck are described as superficial, and they don't penetrate muscle or harm any vasculature. Most of the wounds to the torso are contained in soft tissue. One to the back enters the left pleural space, but misses the lung. One to the right side of the back enters the right pleural space and does penetrate the right upper lung lobe and caused a large pneumothorax. All major vessels are intact. RebeccaKayPark's abdomen had incised wounds. The placenta was hanging from the open abdominal wound with attached umbilical cord, and the fetus was absent. The abdomen incision transcended the colon and the small bowel. Dr. James reported that RebeccaKayPark's stomach contained copious amounts of a blue-green chalky residue. There was also a thin film of subdural blood over the left cerebral hemisphere, with focal subdural on the right parietal area. Okay. However, there was no subscapular or subgaleal hemorrhage, nor skull fracture is noted. The OA joint had marked laxity, but a posterior neck dissection showed no soft tissue hemorrhage. On Sunday, November 30th, a second search warrant was obtained for Bradley and Cortney Bartholomew's residence. Thought he didn't live there, though. Search warrants to seize the 2007 Ford Escape 4-door SUV, red in color, and they get the VIN number, and they get the plate number temporary. Registered to Cortney Bartholomew in the 1992 Ford F-150 pickup truck, white in color, and they give that information, the VIN number. Have them towed to the Wexford County Sheriff's Office to be processed by the Michigan State Police laboratory technicians were also obtained. The search warrants were served, and Bradley and Cortney were both taken into custody and transported to the Wexford County Sheriff's Office. On Sunday, November 30th, Lieutenant Pisker and Sergeant Hackman conducted a recorded interview with Bradley Bartholomew. Hang on, I gotta get the next page. This would be page 7. Page 7. Okay. Bradley was put on notice that Rebecca's death is a homicide, and that this is a homicide investigation, and that there can't be any more lies. There will not be any more lies. Okay. Bradley was read his Miranda rights from a Wexford County Miranda warning card that he confirmed his understanding of the rights explained to him, and he agreed to speak with the detective at the time. Bradley reported his knowledge that Cortney went to get Rebecca. They came to the house to get Tide Pods, and they were supposed to go get ice cream. Bradley said that he was at the house with Bentley. He admitted that he lied during his first interview about being at the residence because of his SO registry status. Bradley is told that SOR violations are small in comparison to a homicide. And he says that at the time, he didn't know this was a homicide. He reported that Cortney had backed out of the driveway in the Ford Escape, and then she came back. He said that at the time, he had no idea where Rebecca was. He said he knew that Cortney left with the white Ford and then came back. He reported that Cortney had told him that she and Rich were in the white Ford and they had a disagreement and there was blood on the dash. Cortney asked Bradley to clean it up, which he reported that he went out and wiped it down. He said that he didn't see any blood on the floor or the seats, just blood splattered on the dash. He described that later there was white paint on the seats, and Cortney asked him to remove the seat covers, which he confirmed he did. He said he was unsure what she did with them, if they were thrown in the burn barrel or in the trash. Next, he said that Cortney was talking to him about how she and Rich did something horrible, but she wouldn't tell him. He claimed that once the story of Rebecca came out of her being missing, he began to put 2 and 2 together. Bradley reported that Cortney threatened that if he said anything, she'd make his life hell. This is crazy. Bradley identified that Cortney had tried to stab him with scissors in the past and charged with the assault, but that case was dismissed. Bradley clarified that Cortney had told him about the something bad happening 5 to 6 days after Rebecca went missing, but he claimed that he wasn't sure what bad thing had been done was. When asked about the story about the baby in the NICU at DeVos, Bradley identified that she was supposedly adopting a baby, but he didn't see how she could do this due to his status as an SOR. Bradley said that Cortney was alone when she got into the white Ford and that she left that residence, their house, and that she returned 15 minutes later. He stated that he had sent a text to Cortney to see if she needed him to come outside for anything, and she responded in the affirmative. It was now that he said that Cortney reported getting into a fight with Rich. Bradley said he never observed Rich on this date, and that he did not observe any injury to Cortney. Returning to the something bad topic, Bradley was asked to continue that topic, and he identified that Cortney is all over TikTok, and that Kimberly was over to use the escape to deliver newspapers. He confirmed that Kimberly left personal items in the escape and identified she did that all the time. When Lieutenant Pisker asked anything else that Bradley wanted known before drilling down questions began, he said that Cortney was constantly talking to Rich. He agreed that she was also constantly talking to Kimberly. He reported that he can't hear the phone conversations as they're taking place by text. He only knows it's them because he sees their name on her phone. Bradley is then confronted with records from carriers, specifically T-Mobile and Verizon. He was asked about Cortney's phone that she had previously said was no longer going to have service. Bradley identified that she had service restored, but she was aware that she had conducted a factory, but was aware that she had conducted a factory reset on her phone. How convenient. He was notified that a factory reset does not prevent access to records that are maintained by the carrier. Okay, page 8. Bradley said that he had Cortney's phone on Monday, November 3rd. It is pointed out that there are phone calls between both the phone he uses and the one that Cortney uses while Rebecca's is at the house. He passes these as simple calls, checking on her comings and goings. He reports that he hasn't driven the truck since he parked it, and that it only had enough gas to get to the gas station. Lieutenant Pisker confronted Bradley's statements about the blood in the truck, confirming his knowledge that the truck had been seized, identifying if there's any blood of Rebecca's found in that truck, there will be a big problem. Bradley is confronted if he thought Cortney had been lying to him about what went on, and he says he does, if he thought that Cortney had been lying to him. He says he thinks. He suggests he can't see Cortney and Rich being together like that, as they haven't talked in over 2 years. Bradley confirmed that there are no $18,000 checks. He doesn't know why Cortney sent images of the checks. He did say that he spoke with Kimberly on Saturday, November 1st, and their dinner that night had ended. He said she was asking about the 2 tracks behind the house. He denied that Kimberly told him that she needed to get Rebecca out of the picture. He identified that Kimberly had said this to Rich Fisher, who is identified as Courtney's cousin. Sergeant Hackman confronted that this is not what Rich Fisher told him when he interviewed him personally. Bradley reported that Kimberly is jealous of Rebecca and that she's aware that Kimberly has had a relationship with Rich in the past. Okay, so they aren't. Bradley reported being upset when Kimberly was on the internet saying that he and Cortney were responsible, making a statement that he doesn't understand how anyone could do that to a pregnant woman. He answered that he believes that Cortney and Rich would be capable of doing something like this. When asked for what purpose, he gave different possibilities. Bradley agreed that he believes that Cortney is capable of slicing open her own flesh and blood and taking a baby out, and agreed that Cortney is obsessed with wanting another baby in her care and custody. He also agreed that it was a good possibility she could attack Rebecca and cut a baby out of her. Lieutenant Pisker asked if he remembered the Sunday that Rebecca was in the hospital, and Cortney saying or texting, "Don't you dare have this baby in the hospital." And Bradley remembers somebody saying it, but not who was saying it. Bradley confirmed going to Fowler's house on Saturday to take the gifts to Rebecca that Cortney forgot to give her at the house earlier that day. While discussing being upset that Kimberly had accused him of being involved, Lieutenant Pisker asked why he hadn't called him out. Why he hadn't called him, and Bradley said that Cortney had threatened him, that she didn't want him involved. His explanation was that she doesn't want to get incriminated or himself incriminated. Bradley began to say that he thinks that Cortney has more to do with it than she wants to claim. He said all the evidence is pointing to her. He suggests that he believes all the evidence would be in the white Ford. The blood he observed inside the truck is discussed and described. Bradley said that he removed the original seat covering about a week and a half after Rebecca went missing because it had white paint on it. When asked what he thought happened, Bradley responded that he thought Cortney was jealous of Rebecca, and he agrees that Cortney would like to have another child. He also thinks that Rich wants to get back into a relationship with Cortney. Bradley agrees that he thinks that Cortney could point the finger at him as being responsible while we interview him. When Bradley is confronted with Cortney being in possession of the cellular device when she went to pick up Rebecca, he claims that he can't say she possessed it, but it was there at the house and he had it to call her. He then confirmed that Cortney did not have the phone when she went to Fowler's to pick up Rebecca. He reported that she got the phone when she came back from getting the white Ford. Okay, we're on to page 9. Hold on, I'm just trying to close some of these tabs here. Okay. Lieutenant Pisker asked Bradley what else he wanted us to know about, and he told us that Cortney has scalpels in her bedside stand, describing them as disposable scalpels for lancing cellulitis. Bradley doesn't remember going anywhere on the morning of Tuesday, November 4th, other than to Fowler's to give him Rebecca's phone. Bradley confirmed that he had come to the hospital on Sunday, November 2nd to bring Cortney her wheelchair Oh, that's right, she only has one leg. And that he was driving the white Ford pickup truck while Cortney was there with the Ford Escape. He did not ride back to Manton with Cortney when she drove Rebecca and Richard home. Bradley begins to show some emotion about the possible outcome of this investigation. Bradley is given a break at this point in the interview. On Sunday, November 30th, at 17:14, Lieutenant Pisker and Sergeant Voss conduct a recorded interview with CortneyBatholemew. Cortney has read her Miranda rights. Cortney identified that at the dinner at her house on Saturday, November 1st, it was herself, Rebecca, Kimberly, Bentley, and that Brad was hiding in the truck. Lieutenant Pisker notified Cortney that this is a homicide investigation and the lies must stop, and if she lies more, charges can be brought. Cortney reported that Bradley is hiding in the trunk because the girls won't come in if he's around because they don't like him. She reported that the dinner ended around 1900 to 1930 hours. The next thing that happened was she called Rebecca about the items she forgot to get her, and that she and Bradley went to Fowler's to drop the items off, and at the time, they were in the Ford Escape. On Sunday, November 2nd, she was supposed to pick Rebecca up and waited until around 18:30 hours, and Rebecca called to say she was on her way to the hospital. She described the events at the hospital as she had previously. Bradley's brought Cortney her wheelchair to the hospital. Bradley was driving the white Ford F-150, and she explained how he stopped at the Meyer gas station to get gas for the truck while she and Rebecca drove Richard home. While she drove Rebecca and Richard home. Cortney wanted to know if Bradley could hear her, and she was told he could not. She reported talking to Rebecca Sunday night about getting shakes on Monday, and she said to Rebecca about that $2,000, and she said that Rich was upset about something. Cortney confirmed the trip to Fowler's house on Sunday after the dinner to drop the items off for Rebecca. When Lieutenant Pisker asked Cortney why she wanted to know if Bradley could hear her, she suggested the need to back up, saying she thinks she needs immunity. Lieutenant Pisker notified Cortney that the prosecutor is the person who can give her immunity. Cortney suggests we get the prosecutor here. Lieutenant Pisker says she will want to know what she has. Cortney said she will give us where the knife is and where the baby is, and that she will give it all to us. When Lieutenant Pisker confronts Cortney that she has guilty knowledge, she responded that she has been threatened, her child has been threatened, her home has been threatened, she has been. Cortney renews her request for immunity, and then asks for witness protection. Sergeant Voss explains we can't offer her immunity. Now we need to go to the next page, which is page 10. Okay. After this, I'm going to check in with you on through this page. Okay. When Lieutenant Pisker asks Cortney if the baby is alive, she shakes her head in the negative. Sergeant Voss asked Cortney about her prior statement that Bradley hides in the truck. He asked her where he hides, and she identified the cab. She described it as a single cab truck, and she said he lays on the seat. Cortney reported that Bradley had put $15 worth of gas in the truck when he was at Meyer Sunday night. Cortney asked if Brad confessed, and Sergeant Voss reported he's told us a lot of stuff. Cortney confirmed that Bradley is using the phone with the number 550, and the phone number in the phone is the 429 phone. She confirms that she had the 429 phone on Saturday, Sunday, and the Monday that Rebecca disappeared. She says that phone was taken on Monday night, and she was told to go back to the house. Cortney said her phone was taken around 20:30. She renewed her request to contact the prosecutor. Sergeant Voss again told her we need to know what she knows to take it to the prosecutor. When he suggests an example that she will tell us where the baby is, she interrupts and says, "In the garage, in the blue cooler." When asked where, she responded, "In the GFL." Cortney says he said he put him in a black bag. The cooler's gone. The cooler is Brad's work cooler, adding, he put him inside the cooler and drove him up and down the road looking for a GFL that wasn't mine. What is a GFL? What is a GFL? GFL? Sergeant Voss asked why Cortney reported that it was related to Bradley going to jail last year when Fowler turned him in. She explained that is all retaliation. She identified the night when they went home after their last interview. She confronted him about his examination and his failure. Sergeant Voss asked Cortney which vehicle he used to get rid of the body, and she identified her white truck. And then she is then asked how he got her in a position to kill her, and she explained how she pulled into the driveway. She had notified him. She was on their road. She explained that she got to the house and talked to Rebecca for a few minutes, and Bradley walked up and pulled her out and said, "I want to talk to you." Cortney described that the white truck was sitting out by the road and explained that she didn't think anything of it. You know, Brad was supposed to be her stepdad. No, he wasn't. Cortney wanted to know where they were going, and that Brad told her to take her arse in the house and don't worry about it. She said she went into the house because she didn't think he would hurt her. Bradley is reported to have returned to the house at 22:30 and told her that he had taken Rebecca home. Cortney confronted him that he had not, and he told her he had and that she would call her in the morning. Cortney asked him for her phone, which she reported he told her he was out in the shed and he went out to get it. When he came back in the house, he said, yeah, she didn't go home. Instead, telling Cortney that he took her to I don't know what that. But when she asked him to take her there, he just told her that Rebecca said to him that she didn't want anything to do with her, meaning Cortney. Cortney reported calling Rich to tell him to call her back ASAP, and that while Brad was watching her, she told Rich that, dude, your old lady left with some guy, or Bradley would backhand her. What? Cortney reported calling Rich to tell him to call her back ASAP, and that while Brad was watching her, she told Rich that, dude, your old lady left with some guy. What? Or Bradley would backhand her. Watching her, she told Rich that, dude, your old lady left with some guy. Oh, okay, I got it. I read that 3 times to him. Must be getting tired. Cortney confirmed that Lieutenant Pisker that the story about the black car was made up and it never happened. Asking her to continue, she reported Kimberly sending her coordinates to Rebecca's phone and asking Bradley why her daughter's phone would be across the road, and his response was, "I don't effing know." She asked Bradley to take her to the phone and said he took her right to it. She said the phone was exactly where the coordinates say it is. She said it was out in the open and it appeared that someone had just set it down. They took the phone directly to Rich's, but before their arrival, she said that Bradley told her, "I'm telling you right effing now, do not say an effing word." Kimberly got the phone from Rich, and Cortney reported that Kimberly had called her and that she was taking the phone to the cops. She said Kimberly called on 2100 on Tuesday night to tell her this. When asked to continue, Cortney identified in her second to last drawer in her bedstand, she has razor knives that she uses to nick open her cellulite so they will drain. She reported that one was gone, which she said she knew because hang on. Oh, I said I was going to check with you guys. All right. Let me see. Where the heck are you guys over here? Okay, you guys watching it? Hey, Megan Els. Carolyn, if you see Sassy, can you let her know she got paid by my hubby today? Yeah, through his PayPal. Okay. I just got home from the ER. Oh no. I wasn't feeling the best, but everything came out okay. What was wrong? What do you think was going on? Was it like flu symptoms, or was it more like you were having pain or something? Oh my goodness. I'm glad you're okay. What was the last part that he cannot offer her immunity? No, it's not snowing yet. We're supposed to have a storm tomorrow night into Wednesday. They're already saying Wednesday no school. Hi, Amy's Justice League. Did Scooter already leave? Michigan. Oh, she had to clean up the dishes. Oh boy. She's always on the go, Scooter, always on the go. Okay. What do you guys think of this so far? Are you guys following this all along? Are you following everything? Are you following this? Are you? It's crazy, right? They're all lying. Who's lying the least? It's crazy, crazy, crazy. And Cortney only has one leg. Does anybody know what, I think we discussed why Cortney has one leg. I forget what it was. You've had a cough for a few weeks, palpitations. Tonight you had blurry vision, felt like you were going to pass out. They had me on an IV, a chest x-ray, and all's okay, so I took a Z-back. How is your anemia? Are you anemic? Are you anemic? So Rich was with the mom and both girls. Yes, Twisted. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is she anemic? Not that I know of, but I'm taking metformin for diabetes. So I think it might be my B12. So, oh, okay. Okay, I hope everything's good. All right, let's see now where we are. She was talking about the scalpels, right? Okay, so she says one was missing. And she says she counted them due to a teenage boy living in the house. Cortney agreed the knives are like scalpels. When she confronted Bradley about the missing knife, she answered, he didn't say anything. And then, Detective Pisker confronted her that her use of the word them means he must have said something later. And she reported it was after her body was found. Wait a minute. When she confronted Bradley about the missing knife. Oh, then. He didn't say anything then. Okay. Cortney said she kept asking Bradley where her daughter was, saying he answered, you'll find out soon enough. She goes on to report that after returning from his last interview, he told her about Kimmy, was asking about woods behind the house to go trail riding. Cortney said that Kimberly will not talk to Bradley ever alone. She reported trying to get Rich Fisher to take Kimberly's bag to her. She said that Bradley said, you can't have that. You're not taking her bag. He said, nobody's taking this bag. Cortney said she realized Kimberly's wallet was in the bag, questioning why he would want her wallet. Lieutenant Pisker confronted Cortney that he had asked her for Kimberly's property while she was at the sheriff's office on Tuesday and that she refused. Said that Cortney Pisker confronted Cortney that he had asked for Kimberly's property when she was at the sheriff's office on Tuesday and that she had refused. She explained that she was told not to, suggesting she didn't want to get her arse beat. She reported that on Tuesday, November 25th, in the morning, Bradley took the truck and went west on West 26th Road and was gone for about 20 minutes. She said when Bradley came back, she asked him if he had hurt her daughter, and he told her, no, I didn't hurt her. Cortney said that was the same day Rebecca's body was found. Cortney said that on Wednesday, November 26th, in the morning, she confronted Bradley and asked what he did, and she reported he told her, I'm going to tell you once. And I'm going to tell you, and you're going to effing drop it, and you're going to shut the F up. He's like, I'm the reason your effing daughter's not here, that your life is upside down right now. When she asked why, she said, Bradley said, Rich effed with the wrong MFer. She agrees this is all a revenge plot. Cortney said that when she asked him what he did to her daughter, Bradley said, I slit her effing throat. Biatch deserved it. Didn't they put that out on social media? I think so. She goes on to say that he said Rich deserved it too, and it just happened to be your daughter that's going to pay for it. Cortney said when she asked about her grandson, she said, Bradley said, "Oh, I stuck him in a cooler, stuck him in a trash bag, and threw him in the trash." Lieutenant Pisker asked Cortney that if Bradley is paying Rich back, why cut the baby out? And she said, because if he would have left the baby in there and had somebody find her before, he would have survived. He would have thought. Cortney was asked why just not cut the baby out and kill it, why take it, and said that he told her the baby wasn't breathing when he pulled him out. Again, she was asked, why'd he take it? Now she answers it was because he didn't want Rich to see they were together. She admitted she didn't know what that meant. When asked about where the baby's now, Cortney said that he put him in a blue cooler in a trash bag and into a GFL container. She confirmed that she is talking about a residential GFL trash receptacle. Cortney says she was never at the locations where the body was found because he wouldn't let her go. She doesn't know how many times he went to the location. When asked if she was killed at the location she was found at or at the end of the driveway, she answers that she doesn't know, but said it wasn't in the driveway because he pulled away quickly with her. Cortney said he walked out of his truck and not the house to get her out of the truck, confirming that it was the escape and not into the F-150. When the detective reminded Cortney that she knew where the knife was at, she said she threw it in a dumpster at Cadillac Shores. When asked when he had done that, she first announced that it was her hunting knife, that she was probably like a week ago that the knife was put in the dumpster. She didn't know what happened to the disposable scalpel, adding that she had no clue and wished she knew. Sergeant Voss asked Cortney what she was looking for in an immunity agreement, what she was afraid of, and then confronted her that she had provided a lot of misinformation to the police. She reassured us that she would cooperate the whole way. Lieutenant Pisker pointed out that her obstruction of the investigation, and she agrees. Now we go to page 12. When asked about the seat covers, Cortney says Bradley burned them. She also said that Bradley went out and cleaned the truck, specifically mentioning the dash. She describes that the cloth was burned and the bucket was taken back into the house. Cortney didn't think the floor in the truck was cleaned. Cortney was asked about the Kimmy stuff, and she suggested that Kimmy doesn't know anything, that she was just trying to feel important. Sergeant Voss confronted Cortney that she was the person who told us recently that Kimberly was in the black car. She reported that Bradley came up with the story about Kimberly. Cortney said she knew that Kimberly told us that she hit Cortney. Cortney said she knew that Kimberly told us that she hit Cortney. Cortney said she knew that Kimberly told us she hit Cortney. That she hit her and hit her body. When asked how she knows that Kimberly told us this, Cortney said she told Ashley and reported Ashley is Rich's baby mama. Ashley Croese had a child with Richard Fowler. That was Rebecca's baby daddy. Cortney said that all that Kimberly did was lie to the police and had no involvement. She also said that Rich Fowler was also not involved, but did say that she knew if he deleted anything, didn't know that if he deleted anything from Rebecca's phone or not. It's crazy. Lieutenant Pisker asked about a text message that is not allowing anyone from the state of Michigan on her property. And Rebecca's saying that they should talk about that. So she is clear on what that means. Cortney denied sending such a message. Sergeant Voss asked when she first learned of what actually happened, and she said it was after her body was found. Lieutenant Pisker then pointed out that she could have covered herself if she had cooperated on Monday at Mount Pleasant. Sergeant Voss asked how Bradley told her how he killed Rebecca, and she said he told me that he slit her effing throat. When he asked how she told him that he cut the baby out, she said, he had one of my scalpels. She denied that he said how he did it, and then said, he just said that I cut him out, and that was it. And that was all he said. Sergeant Voss asked about the baby getting out and being put in a garbage bag and then put in a blue cooler, and what he said about that. She said that he just said that he took him out, put him in the garbage bag, stuffed him in the cooler, and threw him in a trash dumpster. She knows that it was a specific cooler because his work cooler's gone. She knows the size is a lunchbox size cooler and described it as a soft-sided cooler with a hard plastic inside to keep the side supported, and it has a black strap. Cortney reported the garbage bags came out of the house, and she knows this because she counts her garbage bags. She counts her scalpel, she counts her garbage bags. She counts her garbage bags. And she noticed that 2 of the garbage bags are gone. Get out of here. Get out of here. The hunting knife is described by Cortney as being green, having a serrated blade on one side and a flat blade on the other side, and a fixed blade, not a folding knife. She said that Bradley used that knife. The knife was purchased at Walmart within the last year, and she has proof. She has provided a description of it. When asked if she noticed any missing items out of Kimberly's purse, she didn't report any. Cortney denies that Bentley knew anything. We took a break and moved Cortney to another room. On Sunday, November 30th, Sergeant Voss and I began a second recorded interview with Bradley. We reminded Bradley that his rights we discussed earlier, it applied, that he agreed. He was still good with that. Pisker notified Bradley that Cortney was putting it all on him, and he broke down details that Cortney had provided. Lieutenant Pisker explains how the investigation has come down to involving himself and Cortney. Voss explained how we believe it went down and how evidence will support the investigation as an appeal to Bradley was made that he needed to tell the truth. Bradley is confronted with how much gas he put in the truck when he was at Meyer on Sunday after leaving the hospital, and he reported $5. Page 13. When asked about information he feels we should know that we haven't already discussed, Bradley reports that he knows his lunch cooler is missing and describes it as being blue and thinks it is an Oregon Trail brand. He said it's big enough to hold an 8-pack of pop bottles. His description of the cooler is basically the same as Cortney's. He estimates the cooler has been missing 2.5 weeks. Bradley is not aware of Cortney counting their garbage bags because of Bentley's use of them. She never said Bentley's use of them, or they didn't put it down. We confront Bradley that she's blaming him for dumping the body and putting the fetus in his lunchbox. It is explained that she is attempting to place the blame on him. Bradley's confronted with a statement he made in the first interview that Rebecca was stabbed. Sergeant Voss asked him about that statement again and how he knows she was stabbed, and Pisker pointed out that both he and Cortney have reported on the scalpel and that you don't need to make a stabbing motion with a scalpel to slice someone. It is pointed out that Cortney said he is threatening her, including in the parking lot, prior to them leaving for their interviews on Monday. It is also shared with him that she identified that it was a revenge for Fowler turning him in last year on his SOR violation, to which he responded, "That's BS." It is explained that Cortney has said about why the baby was cut out of Rebecca during a revenge murder doesn't make sense. We remind him of the NICU story and her attempts to get custody of Kimberly's and Rebecca's children. Bradley begins to tell us, "I'm sure Cortney stabbed her because she did have a hunting knife. He reported the case for the knife, went into the trash bin, and thinks it might still be in the bin. He identified that the knife went into the trash at Cadillac Shores. He reports that Cortney is the one who cut the baby out of Rebecca. He confirms that he witnessed this, and it had taken place right where she is laying out on the trails behind the house. He confirms that this is the reason he had an officer to go check the trails behind the house. He reported that he knew Rebecca had a bunch of leaves on her because Cortney buried her in leaves where she was found. Bradley confirmed that a scalpel from the bedroom was used. What he was asked about if the baby was alive when he was cut out, he responded no. He confirmed that it was just the two of them that were present. When Sergeant Voss asked why she stabbed her where she stabbed her, Bradley said, in the truck. When asked what location on Rebecca's body Cortney stabbed her, he responded he didn't know as he jumped out of the truck. Bradley reported that Rebecca had gone into the white truck voluntarily. He confirms that the plan to get the Tide Pods was legitimate, and he was unaware of the plan was to stab her. Bradley denied that there was a plan of this. While in the pickup, Bradley said he was driving. Cortney was in the passenger seat and Rebecca was in the middle. Where's T in the middle? Hold on. And claimed not to know what Cortney had told Rebecca to get her in the truck. Initially, Bradley was in the house with Bentley. He said he went outside to get away from everything so he didn't have to worry about Rebecca coming in. He denied getting a phone from Cortney that they were in a phone call from Cortney that they were in the driveway. When he got outside, Cortney and Rebecca were in the Escape, and Cortney had said she blew out a tire on the Escape, so they got in the truck. From here, they get on the trail to the woods because the truck doesn't have a valid plate. They're on a freaking trail, okay? So that's why they're on the trail, because they don't have a plate. And they can't go on the road. Bradley said that Cortney was mad because Rebecca was always bad-mouthing her and wouldn't give her a chance to be a mom. Bradley confirmed that Cortney wanted the baby for herself. Despite Cortney wanting the baby, Bradley said it was unrealistic to expect that Cortney would be allowed to adopt the baby. Hold on. Gotta get to the next page. Page 14. Bradley described that the actual stabbing began when Cortney just grabbed the knife and started stabbing at her. Yeah, what about that thing that we all heard, that they made her lie down, remember? The knife had been down on Cortney's right. He said she stabbed her in the chest, as far as he knew, but said he jumped out of the truck when Cortney started swinging, so he wasn't sure. Bradley knew they were on the trails and said he could take officers to the scene. Sergeant Voss asked at what point did they realize that Rebecca is dead, and he identified that this was after Cortney cut the baby out of her. He said that Cortney tried CPR on the baby. Bradley said that Rebecca was not in the truck when Cortney cut the baby out of her. He said that Cortney tricked her to get out of the truck and made her start walking after she had already been stabbed. Rebecca walked behind the truck but is unable to run due to the pregnancy. When Voss asked what Cortney did to Rebecca, he explained that Cortney had Rebecca lay down. Okay, here's where it comes. As she was still alive and she cut the baby out of her. Bradley said he was beside the trail telling Cortney that she doesn't need to do that and that it's not right. It's not right, honey. Honey, don't do that. It's not right. They do not have the bag or the cooler that the baby is eventually put in. Now that the baby has cut out, Bradley said that they just left Rebecca there. He identified that he couldn't tell if she was dead or not. Cortney decided that they should head to the house, and Cortney is holding the baby on her lap as Bradley drives. Bradley said the baby never took a breath, and he never heard the baby cry. It took about 5 minutes to get back to the house. Bradley said that Cortney took the baby into the house, into her bedroom, and she's trying to perform CPR on the baby, which is on a towel on the bed. He also said he tried to perform CPR on the baby, doing chest compressions and breathing into its mouth. He said this went on for about 15 minutes after they arrived at home. Bradley reported that Cortney went to the kitchen, got a garbage bag and placed the baby in a garbage bag, and went outside with the baby. He identified that the cooler was in the bed of the white truck, and he saw the baby go into the cooler. He explained that the baby went into the cooler because the cooler can be zipped up and had the baby in it, and dispose of the cooler and not be seen. Bradley said the same night he is with Cortney, who is now driving the truck, and they went in, disposed of a knife first, and then they put the baby in a GFL tote at the house north of their residence where they had been some logging done recently. Bradley denied burning the seat covers from the truck and that he and said Cortney burned them. He did say he cleaned inside of the truck using a gray bucket and some bleach and water. He denied cleaning the floor and believes there will be blood on the floor of the truck. Bradley denied placing the phone on the 2-track, but again, he said he found the phone on the 2-track. He did agree that he had the phone on his person on Monday, November 3rd. Sergeant Voss confronts Bradley that if Cortney told him to do this, we want him to tell us now. He denies that he stabbed Rebecca. When Lieutenant Pisker asked Bradley about the card found with Rebecca, he said he didn't know anything about it and couldn't recall what it was, but knew it was on social media. The card? He did not see a card when he left the area. He also did not see a weapon or tools when he was at the scene or anything else. Bradley doesn't know if anyone had been on the scene with Rebecca's body since she was killed, and that he denied that he had been back to the scene. When Bradley was asked about Rebecca not having shoes on, he appeared surprised by that. Bradley gives a description of where Rebecca's body was in relation to the trail and where the things occurred, and he denied that Cortney had asked him to position the truck so the lights would assist. He said the lights shining around the side of the front of the truck were enough illumination for Cortney to cut the baby out. When he left, the body was still on the same, page 15. Hill, Cortney covered Rebecca with leaves, but denied branches were placed on her. At the time, the baby was on a towel next to Cortney. Questioning the presence of a towel, Bradley is asked if he thinks Cortney planned this, and he says, I have a feeling she did, but never told him of a plan. Bradley didn't see Cortney place a towel or the hunting knife in the truck. Using a Wexford County map, Bradley showed the route of travel that he took, approximately where they were. He agreed he could take officers out and show them where things had taken place on Monday, November 3rd. While discussing if there was blood on any of the clothing he or Cortney had been wearing that night, he identified that when they got home, Cortney changed into a nightgown. Previously, he had said that they had gone out and disposed of the baby and the knife that night. Now, when asking about this, Bradley said the baby stayed in the cooler that night on the back porch. He now reported it was Wednesday, November 5th, when the items were placed in the dumpsters, specifically because Thursday is garbage day. Thursday was Thanksgiving Day, right? Yes, that was Thanksgiving Day. He said that it was Cortney who placed the cooler with the baby in it in the garbage tote. They were in the escape when they discarded the knife and the baby. Bradley said one of the things that he believes Cortney said after she couldn't revive the baby was, "The biatch killed my baby." Bradley reported that he watched Cortney and the knife was placed in the glove box of the Ford Escape, and he believes that there will likely be blood located in the glove box. On Sunday, November 30th, Sergeant Voss and I began a second recorded interview with CortneyBatholemew. Okay. As she enters the interview room, Cortney responds that she's ready to go home. When it's pointed out that she is saying it's all Bradley, when asked what she thinks Bradley has been saying, she reported that he's probably saying it's both of them. And we confirm her statement and say that we know they are both present. Cortney denies that she wanted the baby for herself. She admitted that Bradley brought the baby to the house and told her the baby was not breathing. Cortney says she told him to call 911, but Bradley said they weren't doing that. She denied getting involved and said it was because she has Bentley and can't put herself in a position like that. She admitted that Bradley brought the baby to the house and told her the baby wasn't... Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on. I read that again. Cortney reported that the day the drones were flying around, the baby was in a metal shed out in the back. Cortney said she knew that Bradley was going to try to pin this on her because he had told her, "Biatch, I'll take you down with me." Cortney told us that Bentley can prove that she was home on the 3rd. Cortney is confronted with her explanation that Rebecca willingly got into the truck with Bradley to go for a ride, and that he then murdered her and cut the fetus out. When confronted with cellular telephone data and location data records, Cortney announces that Bradley had taken her phone, so she couldn't call the police. Cortney's confronted with her version of events being difficult to believe. Eventually, Cortney says she's going to tell us what happened. Brad took her. He brought the baby back. I tried. I didn't. I couldn't. I tried to save my grandson and began to cry. Sergeant Voss asked how Bradley took Rebecca. Cortney said he pulled her out of the car and she got in the truck. Hold on. We got to go to the next page. Page 16. Cortney admits that she told Rebecca she was going to come with her. She places herself in the truck on the passenger side. Rebecca's in the middle and Bradley's driving. Bradley has the knife, according to her. From the house, they drove to where Bradley ends up stabbing Rebecca. She claimed not to know Rebecca was going to die that night. Cortney places Bradley across South 21.5 Road from their house as she is arriving with Rebecca. Cortney admits she knows something is going to go down because Bradley is on foot across the road waiting for them to arrive. She reported that Bradley approached the vehicle by just walking up on her side, grabbed Rebecca by the arm, got her out of the escape, and she willingly gets into the pickup truck to go for a ride after he told Rebecca, "Your mom's going with us." From the house, they drove to where Rebecca gets stabbed. Cortney said that Bradley told Rebecca to get out of the truck while Cortney stayed inside. Rebecca is taken to the rear of the truck where Bradley stabs her. At first, she said she assumed that he stabbed Rebecca because he came back with the knife all bloody. When Detective Voss asked Cortney at what point did she cut the baby out of Rebecca, she answered, "I didn't. He did, and he handed him to me." Cortney also said the baby wasn't breathing and she didn't hear him cry. Cortney claimed to have never gotten out of the truck because she didn't have her crutches or her wheelchair. She again claimed that this was a revenge plot because she had an S relationship with Rich, and because Rich got Bradley put in jail, she claimed that Bradley wanted to hurt Rich. When confronted with the report that she stabbed Rebecca while driving down the road, Cortney denied it. When asked how all the blood got in the truck, she answered that it was from the knife, and she suggested that Rebecca got back in the truck. Eventually, Cortney admitted that she cut the baby out of Rebecca in an attempt to save him so she could take him to Rich. When she cut the baby out, Cortney said that Rebecca was still conscious and Bradley was holding the knife to her throat. She told Rebecca to lay back. "Your baby's going to die." Cortney denied that Rebecca had been stabbed while in the truck. Revisiting the driveway, Voss asked if Brady held the knife to her throat to get her into the truck, and Cortney nodded her head in the affirmative. While in the truck, Bradley put the knife down by his side. During the ride, Sergeant Voss asked what is said to Rebecca, and Cortney said she told her everything's going to be okay. Cortney said she promised that Bradley wasn't going to hurt her. When they get to the area where this happens, Bradley pulled Rebecca out of the truck and he spun her around and stabbed her in the back 4 or 5 times. Bradley brings Rebecca to her side on the truck and is sitting next to the door, and Bradley ordered Rebecca to lay back. Cortney said she told Rebecca that if she doesn't lay back, the baby's going to die. Her baby's going to die. Looked in the truck and saw the scalpel, so she hurried up and did it. But her grandson wasn't breathing. Cortney said she started her incision along the belly, and Bradley told her to cut downward. It would be easier. Cortney reported that Rebecca is still talking at this time, telling her to hurry up and asking if he is out. Yeah, right. She said she told Rebecca he was about out and that Rebecca told her to save him. When she got the baby out, Cortney said she had dental floss from the dash that she had put in her pocket and she knew she would have to tie the umbilical cord off. She reported tying off the umbilical cord as best she could once the baby was out, and said that Bradley slit Rebecca's throat with a knife. Next, she said Bradley used a cord from a snowplow on the truck to hook her body to the truck, and he pulled Rebecca down the bank maybe 20 feet, pulling her back and off the road. He then covered her with leaves. My gosh. Cortney said the towel was in the truck already, but she didn't know how the scalpel got into the truck. Cortney talked about how she would have come to the sheriff's office if she had been able to give the baby to Rich to report what happened, discussing that she claims that since this happened, she hasn't been able to get away from Bradley. When reminded that on Monday she was in Mount Pleasant and he was in Grayling, she could have said something then. Cortney confirmed that after she was stabbed, Rebecca never got back in the truck. She was asked how the blood got in the truck, and Cortney responded that it was from the umbilical cord, making blood fly all over. Cortney said she never stabbed Rebecca, that she was only responsible for trying to save her grandson. When asked if she thought she should have tried to save her daughter, Cortney said she couldn't. When asked how many times she talked to Bradley on the ride to her house from Rich's, she reported it was only once. She identified that she had the 429 number and that the call they had lasted about 10 minutes. When Lieutenant Pisker confronted Cortney with the 2 incisions she admitted to having made to remove the baby, he asked her if she thinks Rebecca would have survived those wounds, and she said no, probably not. Cortney admitted that about 1 or 2 months prior to having happened, Bradley researched the procedure for getting a baby out. Cortney said that Bradley put the items in the dumpster, but she was present in the Ford Escape for both. Cortney is asked whose idea it was to leave items at the crime scene, and she said it was Brad's. She then identified the items were Kimberly's debit card and a razor knife. Cortney responded that these items were placed after Kimberly went on social media saying that Cortney and Bradley were responsible for the purpose of framing Kimberly. When pressed on the debit card, Cortney said it belonged to James Mercer, not Kimberly, and the card came from Kimberly's backpack. She also said she used one of the plastic bags from her backpack to keep from getting his fingerprints on it. These items were suspected to have been placed by Bradley the day before Rebecca's body was removed, so she said he left with the Escape that day for about 20 minutes. Lieutenant Pisker asked Cortney to provide some information that isn't already known that can verify her statements, and she reported Brad said it was his in response to Rebecca's baby. Now, when it is questioned that they don't like each other, Cortney said, yes, they do. Revisiting the conversation she had with Bradley a month prior about C-section, she reported that he looked it up on his phone. When asked why they were having that discussion, Cortney answered because that's what she was going to happen. She said he told her he was going to cut the baby out of Rebecca right in front of Rich. Cortney said she brushed it off. When Lieutenant Pisker commented on Cortney's story about having delivered a premature baby that was down in the NICU, she denied it and suggested it was a friend's baby that she was thinking about giving up. As she is being confronted with the obviousness that there was a plan for this to happen, Cortney said that Bradley had told her to pull straight in, but she didn't. She turned the corner in the driveway instead. In her driveway instead. Questioning why he told her to pull in straight, Cortney reveals that Bradley had told her if she was going to do anything, it would be right there. When he does grab Rebecca, Cortney tries to get him to stop. But she said that he had the knife to Rebecca's throat, and he ordered everyone to get in the white truck. While in the truck, Rebecca slid over to Cortney, asking what was going on, and she reassured him that Bradley just wanted to talk. Cortney described that Rebecca was calm after having a knife held to her throat to get her in the truck. Yeah, I'm sure she was really calm. Yeah, very. Need the next page now. And that's how it ends. Hold on a minute. Is that really how it ends? That's just how it ends? It doesn't even... Yeah. Okay, so what do you think about that? Hey, Amy, what do you guys think about that? That's crazy to think that previous two Thanksgivings, that's crazy to think that previous two Thanksgivings, this had not occurred yet. No, this happened on the 3rd. I think this is absolutely nuts that people like this exist. Megan L says, yeah. So, but you think that last story is the truth there? So Rich was with the mom of both girls. Yes, yes, yes. Not that I know of that, but oh, no, hold on a minute. So that's that. So we've covered a lot of ground tonight. Got the trial tomorrow, who I keep calling Matt Walsh, but it's Brian Walsh. Also, they had some co-workers on that told about going to her house, but really the most bombshell stuff was those videos today. I think her sick mom helped more than she says. I think this just shows how crazy and diabolical people can be. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Anything else? I'm tired. I am tired. I'm gonna go to bed because I've got a lot. Let's do the word game. And this has been exhausting. Exhausting. The mother wasn't going to let her daughter have her ex-boyfriend's baby. Right, well, she wanted that baby. She wanted it. Oh my gosh, look, Brad is in here. Get out of here. Look at that. And I bet you it's a word like a Brad nail. No? Bad. Bad Brad. Rat. Uh-oh. Rad. Road. Okay. Bar. Why would she want to mess up another kid? I don't know. I don't know, but see, too bad she wasn't in labor that day, right? But that's why she wouldn't want her to have the baby at the hospital, because they thought they're going to take the baby away, right? Yeah. And she thinks that she's not. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Bravo. Isn't that funny? I got bravado and not bravo. Go ahead, Megan else. Mother of the years is twisted. Yeah, right? Yep, yep, yep. Yep. Ooh, let me see. Where's Murder of Crows? Drab. Drab. Okay, now I need one more. Let's see. Oh, I know what it is. Yay! You did it. We did it. Okay, you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Everybody have a good night. And Lucky, I hope you're okay. You should be getting your package. It's on its way to you. I should check the tracking. It might have even arrived. I don't know. I gotta check. Might have arrived. All right. See you guys later on. Love you. God bless. Goodbye. And prayers for everybody. See you tomorrow, I hope. See how I have to stop this. I have to look for the thing to stop this. I'm not sure where it is. Oh, I didn't go in through it. I'm going to have to go in through my other thing. I have to go in through the other thing. YouTube Studio. Content.